The release of Tournament Worlds allows us to beta test the potential Theater of Blood rewards, and Jagex has made some tweaks to those rewards based on our feedback. So in this video, I'm going to cover what current best in slot gear these new rewards will most likely be replacing. I'll also be covering the changes that were made to them based on our feedback. First up, the Vernor Defender. This was previously named the Vernor Defender, but after receiving feedback, not only the name was changed, but the stats as well, to give it a +3 bonus in accuracy and defense. This defender requires 70 attack and defense to equip. The lore behind it is that the original defender was destroyed, leaving behind only the hilt, which requires the addition of a dragon defender to be repaired. For a side-by-side comparison, the Vernor Defender is slightly more accurate and has 2 more strength bonus than the dragon defender does. So because every 4 strength bonus raises your max hit by 1, the Vernor Defender will allow you to deal 1 more damage. You can get the Vernor hilt from raids too, and it will be tradable, but once it's attached to a dragon defender, it becomes untradable. There will be an option to disassemble it, but this destroys a hilt in the process and gives you back your dragon defender. If a player dies below level 20 wilderness with the Vernor Defender, it's gonna break, and then it'll be repairable for 1 million coins. The player that gets the kill will then be awarded 1 million coins from the defender. Deaths above level 20 wilderness will be treated the same as any other untradeable item, meaning it's gonna be lost. So my advice is, if you get this defender, don't take it into the wilderness. Next is a Sanguinity Staff. This staff has the same stats as a Trident of the Swamp, but can hit 1 damage higher, and it also requires level 75 magic to wield. This staff can be charged with blood runes, and after Jagex receives some feedback on it, it now takes 3 blood runes per 1 cast and has a 1 in 6 chance to heal 50% of the damage dealt. This staff does not degrade, so it's basically just like a trident that has a healing effect. I can imagine it being amazing for doing things like Barrows or Zora, but I'm not really sure what else it might be useful for. Moving on to the Grazi Rapier. This one's probably the most controversial one because it doesn't degrade, and its stats are higher than the degradable Abyssal Tentacle. After receiving feedback, the Grazi Rapier received a small buff, so now it has a stat bonus of 94 and a melee strength bonus of 89. And when doing a side-by-side comparison with the Abyssal Tentacle, the good thing is while the Rapier is more accurate and stronger than the Abyssal Tentacle, they both have different attack styles, with the Rapier using stab and the Tentacle using slash. The Rapier has 3 more strength bonus than the Tentacle, so it can possibly do 1 more max damage, and that doesn't really make much of a difference. And finally, it's going to be the new best in slot weapon for stab, as it greatly surpasses the Zamorakian and Hasta. Justiciar Armor. I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but no changes have been made to this armor, so if it does get released, it's probably going to get released in its current state, except for the damage reduction effect, which will no longer work in PvP situations. The way the effect works is if you're wearing the full set of Justiciar Armor, all incoming damage will be reduced by your equipment's defense bonus over 3000. For example, if your stab defense is 1000 and you're wearing the full suit, then 33% of that stab damage will be reduced. Also, this armor doesn't degrade and does not require charging. The individual pieces have stats slightly higher than Torag's armor, and altogether it has a 10+ prayer bonus, so it's going to be the new best in slot melee tanking armor, but the difference stat-wise between the individual pieces of Torag's and Justiciar isn't so high, so Justiciar probably isn't worth buying if you're not looking to buy the entire set for the suit effect. Another thing I should add is, when wearing the full Justiciar armor alongside items with similar effects, such as the Elysian Spirit Shield, the shield's damage reduction is taken into account first, then the armor. So if someone hit a 40, the shield would reduce that to a 30, and then the armor's damage reduction effect would kick in, and reduce that damage further from that 30, and not the initial 40 damage. Vampirian Vambraces. Before the feedback, these Vambraces would have required a pair of Ranger Gloves to make. The problem with creating items like these is if the secondary item is considerably more rare than the primary item, the secondary item being Ranger Gloves will probably be worth more and devalue the primary item. Like the Pegasian Boots, which require the Pegasian Crystal and Ranger Boots to make. Because the Ranger Boots are much harder to obtain than the Pegasian Crystal, it greatly devalues the price of the Pegasian Crystal, which is obtained from Cerberus. And that's the reason why Vampirian Vambraces are now a standalone drop. These gloves require level 75 range and defense to equip, and it's basically like the ranged DPS version of Barrow's gloves. And now the last item, the Cythe of Victor. After feedback was received, the Cythe's attack speed was made quicker, and it has had its slash attack bonus increased to 110. This scythe can hit up to 3 enemies in a 1x3 arc in front of the player with a single attack. Each swing can also hit large creatures up to 3 times in the same attack. The first hit does 100% damage, the second hit 50% damage, and the third hit 25% damage. Each attack is rolled independently, so it's not guaranteed that all 3 attacks will hit. I can see this being amazing for killing large bosses like Bandos or the Giant Mole, where it looks like it can out DPS any other melee weapon. It does seem pretty balanced because when you're doing things like Slayer tasks, the weapon is not optimal to use, as you'll most likely be attacking a single NPC, making the use of other weapons viable. So yeah, that pretty much concludes the list of weapons and the changes that were made to them. And this probably won't be the final state of these weapons, as through further testing, stats and mechanics might be changed, added, or removed. I am curious though, what are your guys' thoughts on these new weapons and what do you think the best use is for them? Anyway, I hope this video has helped inform you. Thanks for watching.